at another principle. Compliance. Compliance is a form of social influence that involves a direct request, often by a person in need, such as a friend, acquaintance who has asked for a favor, or for a stranger who requests directions or the time of day. So basically what compliance is doing something just because someone else asked you to. So the way I'd like to teach this portion of the class is I'd like to teach it as like buying a gym membership or buying a new car. So what these salespeople are going to do, they should have a PhD in social psychology because they've got their tactics down. And I want you to be aware of the tactics that they're using so you can be ready for them. So the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to ask for a small request in order to get a larger request. So let's do the car sales lot. You go on a car sales lot, and what they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, you're looking at that car, would you like to take a test drive? Alright, so it's going to take time to take the test drive. You're going to have to go out of your way, so on and so forth. So that's going to be your first compliance with the small request. And then what they're going to do is once you get in the car, they're going to start making you obedient. Is they're going to tell you to turn on the radio, turn this way, turn that way, so on and so forth. And then when they come back to say, all right, would you like to buy the car? They've gotten you to say yes, yes, yes so many times that you say, okay, yes. So once you say yes once, you're more likely to say yes again in the future. That's the foot in the door. Now then, the next tactic that they're going to put on you is the door in the face. So what they're going to do is they're going to come back with a pretty high price, thinking that, okay, if they pay this, I'm really happy, but really what I want is a lower price. So the door in the face is ask for a very large request in order to get a smaller request. Most car companies don't give you their best price right up front. They just tell you, okay, we can do this, and then if you pay it, they will, but they know that you're going to bargain down. So they'll usually play these games with you, as the salesperson will say, okay, this is the price. And then you'll come back and say, oh my gosh, that's too high. And then they'll play this little game with you, is they'll go over to the manager and they'll say, let me take it to my manager and see what I can do. So look, let me tell you guys, when they go over to the manager, they're not talking about the price. The guy knows exactly how much he can sell that car for. And so he'll come back and then he'll give you a better price. And then you're going to argue it again. And it'll say, oh my gosh, and he'll try the whole conformity thing on you. He'll try to make you feel bad. He'll say, what? You don't have that kind of money? Oh, surely. Well, other people can come up with that. Why can't you come up with that? I mean, you're being kind of picky something. So they're going to try all that on you. And they'll go back to the manager as many times as you allow it. My advice to you would be to look up the blue book, figure out exactly how much you want to pay for the car, and then you go in and you tell the salesperson, look, I'm not Mickey Mousing around. I'll go and test drive the car. This is how much I'm going to pay for the car. Don't waste my time. Either you're going to give it to me or you're not. And if they start trying to mess with you, then I would just get up and leave because there's 10 zillion other places where you can buy that car. So just think about that. Your time is worth more than theirs. You don't have time to play their games. But here we go. The final thing that you have to watch out for when you're going to do some sales or something is the lowball effect. And what the lowball effect is with regard to car sales is once someone is committed to a reasonable request, up the requirement. So finally they come down to your price and they say, okay, I'll give you that price. But now you're thinking that that comes with the air conditioning, with the radio, with all the features that you want. And then they say, oh, no, 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 that's going to be extra. Or, oh, no, 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 there's more prices added in. There's more prices in it. And they put in these little fees and stuff that make no sense to get more money. That's kind of the lowball effect. So make sure that when you're going in that you agree to all the terms. So let's see how the gyms work, because it works very similar. All sales work the same way, and that's why you have to be armed with this knowledge not to get suckered in. I always tell my classes that, you know what, knowledge is the greatest power. It's such a cliche. Everybody says that, but you know what, knowledge is what gives you so much power. Shop around before you even go out. Okay, so at the gym they'll probably say, hey, we'll give you 3 private training lessons. Just come in. You don't have to sign up for anything, no contracts, no nothing. We're just going to give you 3 private trainings. Okay, so now you've gone in, you've spent some time with the trainer, they talk to you, get you comfortable, and then after the end of the 3 sessions, they'll say, okay, this is your workout plan, this is what you want to do, and look, if you would just commit to this, then you can meet your goals. And then what they do is they want to charge you, like, let's say $70 a month. Alright, so first of all, I want to tell you that you can probably argue it down and say, oh my God, $70 a month, I can't afford that. Isn't there a way you could put me on some other program, something? And, let them know what you're willing to pay. And again, look around for the different prices that are being offered there and play that card. Say, look, I can get something here, here, here. I'm not sure that you're always going to win at this. And so you have to play your cards right. But, it's best to go in armed that they're going to pull these tricks on you. So with the gyms, they're also going to do some kind of lowball effect. They'll say, only $19 a month. But what they don't tell you is you have to pay $200 initiation fee, and you have to sign up for 2 years, and it has to be directly taken out of your bank account. So they make it look really good. Only $19 a month. So you say, oh, I'm going to get in shape this summer, and so I'll just end up paying $60. But you can't get the $19 a month unless you do this, do this, do this, do this. I think you all understand. Let's look at our final powerful social psychology principle that I wanted to talk about that I think has a big role in explaining human behavior, and that is cognitive dissonance. So here's the definition that is written up here. I'll read it to you, but then I'll summarize it. The cognitive dissonance theory is that we act to reduce the discomfort or dissonance that we feel when two of our thoughts, cognitions, are inconsistent. For example, when our awareness of our attitudes and our actions clash. We can reduce the resulting dissonance by changing our attitudes. Let me simplify that. Cognitive dissonance is the uncomfortable feeling we feel when our thoughts do not match our actions. So we don't like that feeling. If we do something through compliance just because somebody asked us to, and our thoughts don't match our actions, we tend to change our thoughts to match our actions. That's why compliance is so dangerous. Doing something because someone else asked you to, a lot of times that can change our whole attitude. So we have to be very, very careful with this. Let me show you. So we've got two groups. We've got Group A, Group B, and they're all doing a very boring peg task. They are sitting there for an hour sticking pegs in holes. So Group A gets paid $20. Group B gets paid $1. Then at the end, I say, how interesting was it for you to stick the pegs in holes? Do you think Group A said it was more interesting or Group B said it was more interesting? Now, if you guys are like a lot of my face-to-face classes, a lot of you are saying Group A found it more interesting because they get paid $20. But see, that's where you're wrong. That's where you really, really want to understand human nature here because it explains a lot. Group A got paid $20 an hour. They're going to say, it was boring as hell, but it was $20 an hour. That's not bad. I can live with that kind of money. Group B did it for $1 an hour. So they have to figure out why they did it for $1 an hour. And so they'll say, oh, it's interesting. Okay, so you're saying, well, how does that apply? Well, let's think about gangs. Gangs or big clubs. Any top-level gang or any top-level club, what they're going to do is they're going to have big tasks, money, something in order to get in. Because if anybody can get in, then people don't respect it. But let's say it's the top-level gang, and they expect you to kill someone in order for your initiation. Once you guys kill somebody just because the gang asked you to, you will have a very difficult time turning your back on the gang because you went out of your way for the gang, so therefore you are committed to it. This works in relationships too. Think about the people who have sprung you. They're probably people that you really went out of your way for. And so it seemed like the more that you went out of your way for them, the more committed you became to them, right? That's the way it goes. In an abusive relationship, if the woman is abused or the man is abused, and then they go back, they have to figure out, why did I go back? Because on the one hand, they're saying, wait a second, this person hit me, but then they see themselves going back to this person, so then what do they have to do to reduce the dissonance? They have to say, oh, I must love this person. This works with all kinds of products too. A lot of you kind of laugh at the 99-cent store, but when you go to the 99-cent store or when you see these off-brand versions, something, is a lot of times like the big name companies that you pay more money for, they've just sold their product for them to private label it. But yet, if it costs more, a lot of times we think it's worth more. For example, it's so funny that Consumer Reports did a study on on facial moisturizers. And what they found out was actually Vaseline Intensive Care for dry skin was the most effective, which anybody knows you can get a huge bottle for like $4. But a lot of people are out there spending $100 on a small tube of moisturizer. And the belief it's that cognitive dissonance thing. Oh, if I pay more, then it's worth more. And I know a lot of you carry around that statement that says you get what you pay for. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Again, I would apply knowledge because social psychology principles are pretty powerful.